Hey everyone, Chris Kugler here, and today we're going to be modifying our skill system a little bit. So, in one of our previous parts, we did in-battle skills. Bash and Stun Bash, I think, were the two we implemented. One just does more damage, and the other one does additional damage as well as stunning the enemy for a period of time. Today, I want to implement skills that work on the overworld and not just in battle. So in our skill controller, we have our update method that looks to see if we can use skills. It checks the buttons or which buttons are being pressed, whether we have the left trigger or the right trigger held down, and that brings up our equipped skills on two different skill sets. And you press one of the face buttons to use a skill. So the first thing I need to do is can use skills is tied to whether the player is in battle, whether they can act in battle. So we are going to change this to can use battle skills and rename that. And can use Overworld skills. Now what is can act in battle? Yeah, we just set that in response to events that are occurring from our battle manager. But I want to say I have an in-battle property. So, if not player in battle, and can use battle skills. Stamina is equal to max stamina only makes sense for in battle. And I believe there are additional checks down here that see if we have the MP that is required to use the skill. Now, I didn't tie that to this can use battle skills method because of the possibility that there are skills I'm going to have that don't cost any MP, that are just free to use, aside from the stamina cost. And I think that bears true for Overworld skills as well. So, if we can use battle skills, I'm going to check to see if... so what are we doing here? Trigger value is not equal to 0, and we've pressed a button. Meaning we're holding down one of the triggers, and we press one of the face buttons to use a skill. We find the skill that needs to be executed. We check to see... We get the definition of the skill that's being executed from the string name. We check if we can use the skill, and then we use the skill. Can use skill is just if the SP cost is less than the SP the player currently has, and if can attack is true. And can attack is that there's a focused enemy, that they're not escaping, they're not attacking already, as well as this stamina check. So that doesn't really apply to Overworld skills. That's specific to in battle for a little bit. Player skill controller, so I'm fine with just renaming this to can use... So another aspect of this is that I need to know that the skill needs to know if it's an overworld or a in-battle skill to restrict usage that way, as well as I'm going to have different skills equipped, or rather different skills are showing based on the overworld or in-battle state. So it'll actually be two different equipped skill sets. So this can use skill. We're passing in the skill. Yeah, so active skill. So I'm going to create a skill usage enumeration. And this is going to be battle, overworld, and both. And in my skill repository, which I believe I put in here and just have hard-coded values. Yeah. Yeah, these are passive skills, so they do not have a usage. Active skills, I have bash, yeah, I didn't end up using this QTE key anywhere. So just go ahead and get rid of that. And we're going to add a new active skill. Dash. And this is going to allow us to move faster for a brief period of time while we're on the overworld. All right, so player skill controller. This dot can use skill. If skill is not equal to null, and if skill dot usage is equal to battle, so if the skill SP cost is greater than the player's current SP, you can't use the skill. If it's a battle skill, then we're going to check player.instance.canAttack. Else if the skill usage is overworld, then what? Well, I guess I need some other states. So, for instance, I'm going to need to know if the player is talking to an NPC or not, or if they're in a shop menu, or if they're, well, really, those are the two that kind of jump out at the moment. And also, depending on the skill, I'm going to need to check if there's a focused enemy or not. So canAttack isn't necessarily appropriate for battle. And I think I really need to have more requirements in the active skill. So So skill usage is just going to determine that, or do I want to make skill usage a part of my my criteria? Yeah, okay, so skill usage is not... Skill usage will remain a... I still need this enum. Yeah. So... Skill usage requirement class. Oops. Require focused enemy. The usage will tell me if I can use it in battle or on the overworld. What were some of our other things here? SP cost is implicit. So I'm going to forget about can attack in this use case. So can we use the skill? Skill is not equal to null. If we don't meet the SP or cost, then it's false. If skill.requirement.require focused enemy and player.instance focused enemy is equal to null, and we're also going to return false. So I'm going to write this in a negative focused fashion. So I'm going to eliminate per check whether or not they can use the skill or not. And then if we get to the end, then they are allowed to use the skill. So if the usage is that we're in battle and player.instance in battle. Okay. So if we're in battle, if it requires we're in battle, then not player.instance.inBattle or not instance dot can act in battle, then return false. Else, if it's only on the overworld, if we're in battle, then return false. I'm going to ignore the both usage for the moment. Okay, so what else was in that? Can act in battle. No, can act in battle has nothing to do with escaping. But the other ones were... can attack was the thing I was using. So if we're not escaping and we're not attacking, and I want to say there's a property for is attacking as well. Yeah, so if we're not escaping and we're not attacking, and base.canAttack checks the stamina, which we already check, which I should move into this section, and is guarding also has a property associated with it. So in this case then, if we're into this part, we're already at the point where the usage is in battle, and we know that we're in battle and we can act. So if player.instance is escaping, or player.instance.is guarding, or player.instance is attacking. And really, is performing battle action. No, I'm just going to leave that for here for now. So else, if we're in the overworld, I just need to make sure we're not in battle, because if we're not in battle, the player can't be escaping, guarding, or attacking. I mentioned something about the stamina usage. Can use battle skills. Reps the stamina. Player instance can act in battle. Needs to go away. For stamina is full. Yeah, I'm okay with that hanging around for the moment. What else? Yeah. So if we're in battle and we can't act in battle, Yeah, so I mean, the end result is that that's the only fail condition if our usage is both. Because whether we're in battle or not, the only restriction is that we're in battle, and any of these things is any of these three is true, or this one's false. So that should be that. So can use skill and use skill. So add SP. Yeah, we're gonna drop the SP. Our stamina goes to 0. We're gonna get our skill and use it. So in these cases, though, we're starting our coroutine with our QTE. Stun Bash doesn't use the QTE though. I think I might have meant to implement that later. So I'll come back to that before we're done here. Now, Dash is not going to have a QTE either. So on the usage here, we've already dropped the SP and stamina. So really I only care about the effect. Does player expose the movement controller? It sure does. Yeah. So let's have a quick peek here. And this is based, I started off with the first-person movement controller in the Unity standard assets as a basis, and then modified a bunch of this stuff for my own purposes. So if you notice some similarity between the way they do things and the way I'm doing it, that's the reason. Even though I've kind of dropped some of the stuff that I found was causing problems with my movement. And I do still have some weird movement issues. I've noticed that when I'm strafing and using the camera to turn, the movement cycle is not really smooth. It's got kind of a jagged look to it. But I did keep the stuff as far as the... I like the bit of code around timing the footsteps, even if there was a bug in it. And that bug, if anyone is using the whatchamacallit, the built-in movement controller, is in this progress step cycle that determines the amount of time between footsteps. And the deal is it just would increment this step cycle and next step continuously until you would eventually reach an integer overflow if you were playing long enough, or rather a float. You would reach the capacity of float over time. So you just need to reset the step cycle every so often, and then you kind of keep the time until the next step running from 0 to X, whatever time interval you're specifying. So get input is also where I determine my speed, whether I'm in battle or not, which I no longer have any kind of movement in battle, so that's kind of a moot point. But either way, I need a timed speed modifier. And I think this speed variable is just... yeah, he outputs speed, and it's just used here. So, speed modifier is equal to 1. And then in our get input, the speed is going to be times equal our speed modifier. And oops, modifier. Yeah. Now then, I still don't have a screen around equipping skills, so I think this was test something or another. What do I call that? Yeah, load equipped skills, test data. This.equip skills. Yeah, so I'll equip this to the second skill bar, which I need to do an additional filtering on this to determine whether this is the in-battle skills or the overworld skills. But we'll come back to that in a few minutes. So, build succeeded. Let's go ahead and see what happens here. Yeah, once Unity loads up here. Alright, so... Oh, that's right, I'm only... how did this work? So I'm not checking the trigger movement during my... while I'm in the overworld. So let's take a look here. So... in battle update, overworld update, in battle. Yeah, if we're not holding any triggers, I'm using my normal actions. Did I... yeah, okay, player skill controller also has the update. And it also does the... does it also update the face buttons? Where do I do this at? Player movement controller, player skill controller, player interaction controller. No, that's for dealing with interactions based on proximity, like with the NPCs and such. Wait, so I've got my player, I have these equipped skills. We're certainly exposing these in a property. Equipped skill manager, that could be the deal. Face button display controller dot. Gotcha, okay, so this is just happening in the UI controller itself. Yeah, so that part's just no longer applicable. Yeah, so there's my bash and stun bash, and there's my dash on the axe. So there's my normal movement speed. And there's my dashing speed. 3, 4, 5. And went back to normal. Yeah. Yeah, I left a button on here to restore my MP. That's right. Yeah, so I need to add that QTE back for stun bash as well. I think I'll probably just use the same QTE as the as normal bash. Skill controller. Player skill controller. And we want to do a lot of the same stuff here. Get input from pressed button. Yeah, QT will be engaged with the same button it was pressed with. Yeah. Whoa. Easy there. Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and test this real quick. So, stun bash. And yeah, it only responds to X. It didn't respond to the A button, and vice versa. Ooh, though it did trigger escape when I was holding down X. Oh, P. So I need a state to track whether I'm using the skill or not. The same way I have my is attacking and things like that. And really, I only care about this state if there's a QTE involved. Now, if I remember right, there's a scenario in here where our onComplete our QTE can be interrupted. Which makes that a moot point. So start coroutine gives me this coroutine object back. I don't want to yield anywhere in here on this. I can't check if I don't think I can check if the coroutine is running or not without using that without yield returning on that coroutine instance. So we are interruptible, which means this onComplete might not get hit. So else if Qt interface is interrupted and onInterrupt is not equal to null. So if we weren't interrupted, our Qt finished naturally, and we have an onComplete method to call, we're going to call this onComplete with the results. Otherwise, if we were interrupted, and we have an onInterrupt method, we're going to call this onInterrupt. Yeah. And then for the player, using our guard and our attack QTE, I don't really give a damn. No, nothing needs to be done if we interrupt. And the end result of this then is I have this player skill controller dot is using skill that I need to tie to my escape mechanism. Yeah, we'll leave it at that for the moment. Now let's see if I can escape while I'm using a skill. Yeah. Escape was locked off. Yeah, same with my normal attack. Now then, the last thing I needed to do at the moment is this skills manager. So I've got skill bar 1 and skill bar 2 are both tied to whether the player is holding down the left and right right trigger, respectively. So I also then need a set of Overworld skill 1 and skill 2 and in battle, which will encompass skills that are equipped for the Overworld usage. Now, I don't know how I want to limit that. Do I want to have a full set of skills usable on the Overworld, or do I want to force the player to choose between the two? And it really comes down to how many skills am I planning on having in this game, because quite frankly, I'm still not sure. I've got something like 20 perspective ones in my notes, but I haven't really sat down and thought about whether I'm actually going to include those or not. So yeah, I think I'll leave it at that for now. Like, I'm not going to worry too much about that. One of my next steps is going to be putting together the screen for actually equipping skills to the different button combinations. So I think I'll leave that for later once I've kind of made a decision on the matter. Anyways, thank you for watching. Hopefully, as always, you learned something. And I'll see you next time. Take care.